Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Highway to the Zemus Zone League matches. This is match 15 between dobbytwostep, fleury14, eykir, and rncastro86. I am Tirasu, and tonight I am joined by MaggieTheKatt. How are you doing this?
Hey, Tirasu, and hello to everyone out there watching this race on RPG Limit Break. I'm doing really well. Really looking forward to the match that we have going tonight.
I am too. I believe this is going to be Dobby's first match, so it's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to stack up against everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Dobby is currently sitting at 0 points, but this is his first match. Fleury has 3 points and this will be his second match. He has 1 match in, and both eykir and Castro have run 2 matches. Eykir has 5 points and Castro has 4 points. So everyone's pretty evenly paced right now. I think it's going to be a really good match. Really looking forward to see how they all face up against each other tonight.
It's going to be a very good match, and we have a Tela start, which is always interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Tela can be a very versatile character. It starts with both white and black magic, but very limited spells at the start of the game. Of course, if they are able to clear Mount Ordeals relatively early, Tela unlocks all of his spells, which makes him a lot more powerful. So that'll be a good incentive for our runners. Oh, and he's joined by a Cecil, even better. That Dark Knight Cecil and Tela is going to be a huge incentive for our runners to go to Mount Ordeals as early as possible.
Ordeals definitely seems like it's going to be a major play for all the runners. One of the other nice things about Tela is he starts with that exit spell, so you're able to get to some other areas and get out a lot quicker. And they also started with a Murasame, yes, which good sword for edge. Gonna have to hopefully find that ninja if you want to make use of it, but could always sell it for some decent money early.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a rough start unless they find some good items or are able to get a good character relatively free, maybe on Mount Hobbs, because Tela and Dark Knight Cecil are both pretty weak to start with. So making any headway with just these 2 characters is going to be a little bit challenging.
We also had Pain Man guarding Iridia in the Baron Inn. That's Pain Man there's not scary whatsoever, but we don't know what's going to be behind him, and going for Iridia takes a long time to really become online, so not a rush to get that character.
Yeah, she's another character who starts out pretty weak. She will have access to a random summon since the Hobbs on, so if they do take her to the front of Mount Hobbs, they could get potentially a good summon spell for her, something like maybe Sylph or Titan or another one of the elemental summons. So she could become relatively useful after taking her there, but she's still going to need some levels to be able to use any of those spells as well.
This is very true. We do have a little bit of divergence from our runners. Dobby and eykir looked like they ran into Mist, followed by rncastro, whereas Fleury went straight for Damsian. So nice little bit of divergence from our runners. Both areas meant more for looting rather than any actual progression.
Yeah, not surprised to see them going into Mist, which is often skipped early on because, as you had mentioned, Tirasu, Tela does start with Exit, and they can get those extra chests that we're seeing here in the back of Rydia's house, and then exit out without having to walk out, which takes several extra seconds, and they are rewarded with that by finding a cursed ring, which could come in pretty useful, depending on what bosses they run into later on here.
Curse Ring lowers your stats by 15, so able to use that for agility manipulation. We had Dobby take a look inside the waterfall cavern and found the Dark Elf, so not going to have to worry about him later, although not a very difficult boss.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're looking for a potential demist here. No one's actually gone into the vanilla demist yet to see if demist might be sitting there. Had some really nice pickups in the bottom of the Damsian treasury there. I saw a Zeus gauntlet and a rune axe, which will be great on Cecil once they turn him into a paladin. Unfortunately, Cecil's equipment list right now as a Dark Knight is very limited, so he's not able to use either of those items yet.
No, he cannot. He can only equip the Dark Knight gear, which is not that useful. We do see a Yang on the top of Hobbs, guarded by Milan and friends. Shouldn't be too difficult to get through that, but Fleury choosing to reset out.
Yeah, without any way to do any kind of AoE damage, like a Stardust or something to do like any kind of spells or anything like that to do area of effect damage, that fight's going to take a little bit of time to get through, especially with these characters. Yang is going to be, it takes a little while to bring online as well. He starts out with more hit points than Cecil or Tella, or around the same hit points as Cecil and Tella at this level. And he gains hit points very quickly, but his his damage output at this level is pretty low.
This is very true. He needs a lot of time to get online, a lot of levels. He's not so gear dependent like some of the other characters, but this start is all characters that just need time to get online. One other thing, Dobby went into the Troya treasury and found a coffin, so that could be potentially useful in a tight spot.
I saw a lunar staff picked up on Fleury's screen from the bushes in, I believe he's in Silvera here. That could be pretty nice on Tella. You don't often think of the mages equipping staves or rods and then whacking things for physical damage, but that lunar staff is one of the best staves in the game. So, if push comes to shove and Tella has to start whacking things, that lunar staff could actually be kind of useful.
Certainly is the case. Sometimes you just have to let the mages go berserk and give up on their magic.
We've seen both Dobby and eykir here using Tella's exit spell to get out of Troya quickly, picking up those items, doing some treasure shopping and treasure checks in the Troya armory and item shops here.
More likely what they're looking for is just a battle item or two to be able to kill a couple of quick bosses just to get a little bit of experience and just get some progression, try to move on through the seed. Like you said earlier, Dark Knight Cecil and Tella start is pretty slow. They're both just very low damage until you get through that Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, and again, checking this Troya treasury, that I think everyone has done it now, something that you don't often see runners do, except with this Tella having exit, they're able to do it and then exit out of here quickly without having to walk all the way out. And especially with this position, they're looking for something to just take out the initial couple of bosses on Hobbs or in the bottom of the Antlion Cave, just so that bring these characters online a little bit.
Very much the case. Dobby is now heading up to Hobbs, going to see that Milan and friends guarding Yang. I wonder if he's going to have anything to be able to take that out pretty quickly. Does have a rune ring for Tella, so that's pretty nice, actually.
I did see someone pick up a firebomb. I think it was in the bottom of the Troya treasury, so might be able to use that, to take out this Milan and friends that's at the top of Hobbs here.
Firebomb at Hobbs with the Milan and friends. The firebomb should kill off all of the zombies for you, the ghasts.
Yeah, we see that's exactly what Dobby is doing here. Milan is still left, but it looks like they're using the J ability on Yang, the power ability that lets him do extra damage, putting him in the front row so that he can do maximum damage. They should be able to still get through this without too much trouble. It's just going to take a little bit. Another
thing is he has that power staff and equipped it onto Tella. Not going to do the most damage since Tella's stats are some of the worst in the game, but will allow him to actually do some decent damage for this fight, try to get through it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, we see all of our runners kind of taking their time at the beginning of this seed because of the start. Often by this time we would have seen someone go into Antlion, someone be in Fabul by now, but because of this start, it is, they're taking their time to make a lot of these checks, check more shops, find as many items as they can, just because it is going to be a little bit more difficult with this start to get through some of these early bosses.
Dobby's still just plinking away at this Milan fight. The Dark Knight Cecil offering no damage. Yang needing more time to get some damage. The power is certainly helping, but you can see just a little over 100 damage. Still going to take some time. And the rest just continuing to try to loot and find something to make this early game easier. Dobby finally getting through that Milan and friends. Now has the Karate Man on his side and probably going to loot Hobbs, hoping for a little bit more. Nope, just going straight out.
I did see eykir loot the what was in the forest in Troya, which you again don't often see unless you have someone who can cast exit. Didn't find a whole lot. There was a samurai armor in there which they can put on Cecil again once he gets upgraded. But again, we're seeing a lot of checks here that we wouldn't often see unless they have someone like Tella who starts with the exit spell.
And we have our first runner. Finally looks like they're going to go look for progression, going into Antlion on Dobby's side. rncastro and Fleury now taking on this Milan and friends.
All of them using that fire bomb that they had picked up in the bottom of the Troya treasury to take out the ghasts. And then just going to have to plink away at that... at the actual boss, the Milan himself.
Ooh, Dobby just picked up a Stardust and some Artemis arrows. Artemis arrows do increased damage to dragon types and very good for grinding later. Has a black sword for the Dark Knight, which is going to increase his damage, especially for this early game.
Yeah, the black sword is Dark Knight Cecil's best weapon. It also has a chance of inflicting the swoon status on regular enemies, non-boss bit enemies, which can instantly kill enemies that don't have the boss bit. So, even though Dark Knight Cecil is still the worst character in the game, that at least is his best weapon.
And for this early game, it's not that bad of a weapon. We'll be able to help get through all these early game bosses. Ooh, we have a lunar boss in Antlion. Surprise, it's Wyvern.
Smeepty, you rolled a seed for us tonight.
He did get that first star veil off, though.
Yeah, so it looks like Dark Knight Cecil is able to take that Wyvern down with that lone star veil and is getting a ribbon for his trouble.
Wyvern cannot guard your only access to underground, so not surprising that it didn't have progression here. But a ribbon is a very nice helmet to have. Can protect you against it will protect you against instant death, except from plague, and really good magic defense.
Yeah, and right now everyone except Dark Knight Cecil can use it. Both Young and Tella can put that on, so that's going to offer some great protection for this early game struggle that everyone is seeing right now.
All right, we now have Dobby going into Fabul, while we have Fleury now making his way through Antlion. Probably going to be a little bit of a surprise when he sees the Wyvern there. And to answer Rex in chat, no one is done for Bull yet. We've seen a little bit of looting in there, but no one's actually taken on the boss yet.
Both life potions and cure 2 potions available. I'm sure that they're going to be making use of both of those items. Yeah, we see Dobby clearing some room, getting some gold to be able to buy those. Also cabins, all 3 of those are very, very useful items. Kamikazes, also situationally useful. Runners usually like to have a couple of those available in case they run into the plague lunar boss.
Yes, Kamikaze is definitely very useful on Plague and just situational in other areas. So just having those on hand is always nice, but never really needed. And we have Antlion attacking the Fabul Castle this time.
Yeah, this shouldn't be too difficult of a fight in this spot here. Antlion will do physical attacks only, and then counter pretty much anything with his counter ability. Tella does have the blink spell as one of his starting spells, so if they need to blink their party up, they can do that. But it doesn't even look like in this spot Antlion's doing very much damage at all, so they probably aren't even going to bother to do that here.
And just a slight correction, Antlion only uses counter whenever he is hit with a physical attack, and it has to be a direct fight command. Things like Rosa's aim, or in this case, Yang's power, will not trigger the counter attack.
Oh, you are correct. Thank you for that correction.
Just something for everyone to know. If you're stuck with a party of physical fighters, if they have optional commands like power, aim, jump, use that against Antlion so you don't get the extra damage.
And I had missed what was on the west slope of Mount Hobbs here, but eykir did go and clear it out. There was an elven bow and a dancing dagger. That elven bow could be nice if they want to bring up an archer, and the dancing dagger, if they happen to find someone who can equip daggers, is good in the early parts of the game here. So some pretty good pickups there as well.
Very true. Right now, the only person I know of that they have access to that could use that dancing dagger is Rydia. And probably not going to be going to her until after Ordeals, which afterwards, Dancing Dagger is just going to be okay at best. For Bull, having a rat tail, it's not progression until we can find that hook, but it has potential. He also found a mute dagger in there. That's an interesting weapon.
So far, there's only 2, possibly 3 spots left that could hold progression. We haven't seen what's on Mount Ordeals, and we haven't seen what's at Baron Inn. There's also the possibility that D-Mist is sitting at the Magus Sister spot and could hold something.
D-Mist at Mega Sisters could be interesting, but probably will be the absolute thing our runners check, but we'll see. We now have Dobby heading up Ordeals. Fleury is taking on that Antlion. And eykir is now diving into Antlion Cave and going to run into his Wyvern. I believe rncastro already took out the Wyvern at Antlion and has his ribbon now.
Yeah, and it looks like he's making his way up Mount Ordeals, so we're about to see the bosses at the top of the mountain here. Hopefully going to be seeing a paladin relatively soon. If he can, there's at the top of the mountain here that he has to get through. Well, 2 before he turns into a paladin, but 3 before he actually completes the entire chain of cutscenes.
First boss is Milan Z, a little bit of French vanilla tonight at the Ordeals. Fleury finishing off that Antlion, and now eykir taking on Wyvern.
Milan Z not going to be too difficult in this spot. I saw Yang hit for upwards of almost 700 damage with that Fire Claw, powered up Fire Claw that he has on. And Milan Z only does physical attacks, so it looks like Dobby is using Blink to help mitigate those. Looks like eykir was able to get through that Wyvern fight, so he's going to be getting the ribbon on his screen in just a moment here.
There we go. Eykir got through Wyvern, like you said. Did manage to get a Star Veil on everyone, so everyone got the experience for it, though it is slightly wasted on the Dark Knight Cecil. And Flurry is all through with Fabul, while Dobby just finishes up Mylon Z. rncastro just finishing up Antlion. So our runners still fairly close to each other, and Flurry looks like he's going to go take on Baron Inn.
Seeing a little bit of divergence, so we're hopefully about to find out if either of these spots are going to hold, which one of these spots are going to hold our progression. We see a free boss up here in the second ordeal spot. This is the King and Queen of Eblan. As long as you just wait until they finish casting a few fire spells on you, they will disappear, and essentially a free fight here.
Could think of a lot worse things that could be in this back attack spot, but King Queen Eblan, a little bit slow of a fight, but still free. I like it in the back attack spot because they're going to get their actions a little bit faster than usual, at least for relative spots.
The second fight in Baron Inn here is also almost entirely free. It's the Dark Knight, or the Dark Imps, and it looks like fleury14 was able to get an hourglass off on them. They are susceptible to status effects, so they can be hit with hourglasses, they can be hit with coffins, they can be swooned with the Black Sword, which we just saw from his Dark Knight Cecil.
This is the kindest Baron Inn for Iridia I have ever seen. Dobby now inside the glass chamber for Mount Ordeals. Let's see what his key item is. The Magma Key. So Ordeals is hard required for our runners. The Masamune from that Baron Inn fight. So as if you didn't need more incentive for Ordeals, there it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, we bring our Paladin online, we unlock all of our Tella's spells, and we get underground access all in one fell swoop. And not just underground access, it's the easy underground access. We also see Dobby exploiting the easy karate defeat trick here. If you let him kick twice and then attack with Paladin Cecil, he will disappear. You don't have to take out all of his hit points.
He goes ouch and then dies like that. We see Vanilla D-Mist was Odin.
That's actually really nice to know that they will not have to fight an Odin in a more difficult spot, because Odin can be really, really mean.
Odin can be very mean, like you said, in the right spot, but Flurry really does not want to do that Ordeals play, checking these other spots before heading there. And rncastro making his way up Ordeals now. So Dobby with that a slight lead over his competitors with that Magma Key already in hand, and a Paladin Cecil and a fully powered Tella.
It could be that Flurry thinks, that with the start that we had, everyone else is going to be making the Ordeals play. So if he can find progression somewhere else, he may have a lead. That good thinking, if there was like a D-Mist sitting somewhere else, or if there was a required key item or progression sitting in Baron Inn, a really good heads-up play. Just unfortunately, it didn't quite work out for him in this particular seed.
That is very much the case. We do see that eykir having to fight the true final boss of the game, inventory management.
Yeah, especially with a party like this, where you have a Tella who you probably don't want to bring into the Zeromus fight. You have characters like Rydia and Yang who are kind of mid-tier. They can be good, but they take a lot of work, and so if you find better characters, you're going to want to take them instead. So you're going to keep equipment for those better characters around. You just don't know what equipment to keep, so you keep equipment for those characters that you hope to see later on.
And then, of course, the second you sell it, those characters will most inevitably appear for you.
Yeah, absolutely. The minute that somebody sells one of those ninja swords that they've gotten, they're going to get a ninja on the moon or something like that.
And Dobby dropped that magma key eykir in the Baron Inn fight. Going to be very pleased to see these two really easy fights. And then Fleury now making his way up ordeals. rncastro through that King Queen Eblon, and Fleury making quick work of that Milan Z fight.
Dobby dropping that magma key in the well, opening up the path to the underground, immediately goes down to Tamara. Probably going to do some shopping and some looting before doing anything else down here.
Hopefully he gets everyone what they want and the job dwarf. Casino floor person. Fleury now on the King Queen Eblon fight. rncastro taking care of that karate. And I think Dobby is going to go to Feymarch and eykir on that free Dark Imp fight.
I don't know if anyone has seen Sirens yet. They weren't in Tamra, I know that. I know they weren't in Eggart, because Dobby checked there before he went underground. We haven't seen Dwarf Castle and we haven't seen Feymarch yet, but I don't know if they were anywhere else on the overworld.
I don't recall seeing Sirens yet. Ooh, a heroine robe down in the Feymarch. That's an interesting piece of equipment. Rydia can equip it, and you can make her into a pretty decent physical fighter with that. Just need it with that elven bow as well, or even just a bow in general. Be pretty good. And there's the sand ruby in the rat tail chest.
I know Dobby went and checked the character who was available in the bed in Kaipo, but I didn't actually see who it was. So we'll see if he decides to go back up there and pick up whoever is available there in Kaipo for him.
I didn't quite get to see who was in the bed either, so maybe.
Eykir finding out that he will not have to fight an Odin, finding that Odin in the demist spot. Looks like we have a Mom Bomb and either Rubicante or Elements down in the Feymarch. I don't think we've seen either of those bosses yet, so at this point it could be either of them.
We have not seen Ruby or Elements, and those are two bosses in the Feymarch that you just don't want to tangle with until you've got levels. Mom Bomb could be doable with Blink, but you still have to be careful of that Explode.
Yeah, those are going to be pretty mean fights, especially for this particular party. And with no way to grind yet, still haven't seen the shop in the Dwarf Castle, so Sirens could be available there, but if they don't have a reliable way to grind, I think they're going to be passing on those spots for a while yet.
And to answer in chat, Mom Bomb is very nasty in Feymarch because both bosses actually have pretty solid physical attack and are very fast, so Mom Bomb is very dangerous in the right spots.
Very, very fast, yes. Still no sighting of Sirens. We do find illusions in the Dwarf Castle item shop, which those are going to be very useful, especially for something like that Mom Bomb fight. And we do see Dobby clearing out his inventory, selling some things, probably making some gold to buy some of those illusions. But I don't think we've gotten Sirens yet, so they do not have a way to reliably grind yet with underground access.
Eykir making use of that Hobbs flag, and that's a Sylph.
That's a great summon for Iridia. It does damage to a single target enemy and then splits that damage among the party to heal the party, and can also be cast for free as long as Iridia has the required MP to cast it.
Very true. That Sylph summon makes Rydia actually a very solid character, especially in the mid game. Just need to get her 25 MP, which usually one fight will get her to that point, and then Sylph is basically free as long as you maintain 25 MP. And Sheila 1 has passed today.
Yeah, a lot of runners don't like to make the Sheila check unless they have the pan, but they can get a single key item if they go down into the Sylph Cave and talk to Yang and then go talk to Sheila. It doesn't cost anything as far as having to fight a battle or anything like that. It does take a little bit of time, and getting that pass is pretty useful because either way, the runners are going to have to go down into the underground to forge their crystal, since they need the adamant and the legend sword to make their crystal. So if they have to go up to the moon to find one of those items and then come all the way back down to the underground to forge that crystal, they can then use the pass to quickly bypass that lunar subterrane a second time to get to Zeromus.
The bed character is a bedward today.
Very interesting. Dobby is taking the time to pick Bedward up. If he has that dancing dagger, Edward can do a little bit of damage with that. Unfortunately, the spoon flag is not on in this flag set, so we're not going to be seeing any spoony bards tonight.
It's unfortunate we won't see Spoony Bard. However, that hide command is still very useful throughout most of the game, especially if you know how to make use of it.
Yeah, can be very useful for certain bosses. Something especially like maybe that mom bomb, if they can get Edward hidden to help hide from the explode that happens mid-fight, that can help them out, to save them from certain scripted fights like that.
Very true. The hide command, like I said, very, very useful, especially in certain fights. With illusions, hide Edward, you might be able to get through that mom bomb early. It'd be a slug of a fight, but Dobby getting information that it was Odin at Vanilla D-Mist, and now Eykir is making his way up ordeals. And both rncastro and Fleury getting the information of what's in the Feymarch.
Dobby looks like he's going to go back and pick up that Rydia and get the other ninja sword that's available in the Baron Inn here. So we see a little bit of overlap as our runners kind of clean up the spots that they haven't been to yet.
Castro now making his way over to Kaipo, going to pick up that Eddie. And we see that Dobby, his Eddie died from this DKC.
Yeah, Edward starts out at level 5 with only 60 hit points, so pretty squishy. Stays pretty squishy throughout the whole game, but starts out even squishier than he gets when you get him a few levels.
Edward has some of the worst HP growth in the game, only beaten by Tella for the worst. And we now see Fleury setting up for Sheila 1, Eykir letting the King Queen commit suicide, and rncastro now at the Baron Inn, probably going to pick up that Rydia as well.
Yeah, looks like Fleury's going to go talk to Yang, and then we'll be getting the pass pretty shortly here. Eykir is going to be picking up that MaggieTheKatt and his Paladin in just a moment. Castro doing a little bit of equipping and organizing his inventory here. I I didn't catch it, but I think he maybe did. Did he do the back row glitch on Cecil? That would allow him to do back row damage with his Cecil, even if, or front row damage if he is, even if he's in the back row, if he had equipped a bow and arrow on Cecil.
I didn't see if he did, but probably a good chance of doing that. But while we have our runners just kind of covering tracks from everyone, I'm going to give a shout out to our restream tonight. Snape D handling the restream, bringing you all the action. And of course, Tower Sheep handling our tracking tonight. Thank you both so much for your hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. Without all of our volunteers who help bring these races together, we wouldn't be able to restream all of these great league races for you. So thank you to all of our volunteers, and also thank you to RPG Limit Break, our longtime partner, for allowing us to restream our races on their channel.
All right. Dobby looks like he's setting up to go into the Dwarf Castle. Now this will give Rydia, allow Rydia to grow up, and it'll give her access to the level 2 spells. So Fire 2, Ice 2, and that's a demist.
Ooh, so this is going to be a 2-for-1 for Dobby and anyone else who goes here. They will be able to get a potential key item from the Dwarf Castle itself, and then once they get through this set of fights, there's 2 fights here, but once they get through them, they'll be able to go back to the Village of Mist and talk to Rydia's mother to get another potential key item from her.
You're going to get 2 potential key items, a character, and Rydia gets a slight power boost.
Yeah, Dwarf Castle is often kind of saved for, not necessarily last, but kind of later on, because it is a little bit of a long set of fights. It's 2 boss fights. There's kind of a long cutscene, but this is definitely value here with this particular party setup and getting these 2-for-1 key item checks here.
Flurry right on Dobby's tail going into this Dwarf Castle, probably ecstatic to see Demus. So no Demus hunt tonight. Sorry, we can't quite bring you Demus at CPU yet. rncastro picking up that Rydia, and eykir just dropped his magma key, so all of our runners now have access to that underground.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone does any different divergence. We may possibly see a tower or a keyless tower play. No one's found the tower key, but there is still the boss and key item check that's available at the top of the Tower of Babel that we haven't seen yet. And then there's still, of course, the 2 bosses in the Fey March that they could try to take on if anyone feels up to a challenge.
Quickly kind of running out of spots for our runners to check, and we see rncastro making the play for Dwarf Castle as well. Looks like he's gonna maybe do some looting here as well. A lot of checks you can get here.
Yeah, Dwarf Castle has a lot of chests and checks, but they're kind of spread out, so it does take a couple of minutes to get all of them. Now with that Tella, with the exit spell, they can make all those checks and then exit out as soon as they're done instead of having to walk out. So again, another bonus to starting with that Tella with that exit.
Very, very true.
Demist being a little bit of a slog here. Of course, Demist is going to attack 3 times and then turn into mist so that you can't attack it for a while until it turns back into its dragon form. Dobby does finally get through this fight, so now we'll see what the character and the second boss in this spot is.
It's very true. It turns into that mist, and this spot does have pretty decent HP for this point in time, around 8k. And that's gonna be either for Bull Gauntlet or Water Hag. And the character's just a Tella.
Yes, we haven't seen either Fabul Gauntlet or Water Hag, and it is the Gauntlet. We are making a long cutscene even longer.
That's not what you ever want to see in a place like this where it's already long. Luckily, this spot, while it's a bunch of fights, it's 4k HP spread across a lot of enemies, so gonna be pretty easy to take them out.
Yeah, this spot doesn't have as many hit points as the first spot had where D-Mist was, so we see Dobby taking out that first round of soldiers pretty easily. It's not going to be too difficult, it's just going to be long, and hopefully the payoff is going to be worth it. Hopefully between the two key item checks that they're going to get here, between turning in the D-Mist and then the actual check from King Gaiad himself, they'll be able to find something of value here.
Eykir now making his way into Dwarf Castle, and Fleury on his fight with the Fabul Gauntlet.
We'll see if Castro decides to join them. Looks like he's at least going to run out and possibly save before doing so, but then we'll see if he decides to run right back in and join them. Yep, looks like he is.
We have all four runners in Dwarf Castle at the same time.
I can't really blame them. This probably is the easiest of the checks that they have at this point. Those two fights in the bottom of the Fey March are pretty tough at this point. And then the top of the tower, that's a long way to go to check without knowing what is waiting for them at the top.
This is very much the case, and Eykir having that Sylph on Rydia, you can see what it can do in this mid game. Pretty solid damage and able to heal your party. And it looks like Dobby on the last of the 6 fights for this Fabul Gauntlet.
Eykir and Castro are making their way through the D-Mist fight. I don't think they're going to have much trouble with it. It's just going to be a matter of time and getting through all the hit points that are in this spot here.
And Dobby, the first of our runners through Dwarf Castle. Let's hope that he gets something good. He still has 2 potential key items from this spot. And that D-Mist giving rncastro a little bit of trouble.
Nice use of Tella's blink spell, using it while D-Mist is in mist form, because all D-Mist does is physical attacks. So blinking up the party does ensure that D-Mist won't actually be doing any extra damage to them while it's in its dragon form here.
That's very true. All D-Mist can do is physical attacks. If you attack it when it's mist form, it'll do the cold breath attack, but...
Dobby got the pan from the king of the dwarf castle. So he already made the Sheila 1 check, but now he can go back into Sylph Cave, whack the sleeping Yong with the pan, get a potential key item from the Sylphs, get a potential key item from Sheila by turning the pan in, and get a potential key item from talking to Rydia's mother in Mist.
All in all, Dwarf Castle spreading out into 3 potential key items. That is an amazing Dwarf Castle for once.
Yeah, very, very true. Considering that the character was a little bit lackluster, let's hope that at least one of these 3 checks is going to turn into something with progression or something that's going to lead to the crystal.
Eykir finishes up his D-Mist, and Fleury hot on Dobby's tail into this pan check itself. And we get more fetch quests in the Earth Crystal.
Earth Crystal is really interesting. It's check, having to go up through the Tower of Zot, but it's another potential key item check, and then two potential characters, or two characters at the top of the Tower of Zot.
This is very true. It's just a lengthy progress. And we have a bunch more fetch quests in the Luca key.
Yes, yet another fetch quest. I think that this seed is about to open up for all of our runners since they're all going to be doing this. Let's see if Sheila 2 gives us the Baron key.
I would love for Sheila 2 to give them Darkness Crystal.
That would be even better.
Because then you have to make a choice and hope that it's the correct one. Eykir on his Fabul Gauntlet, and rncastro still dealing with this demist.
Dobby's trying to give Sheila a Cure 2 potion, and she's not having it. And Tirasu, you called it.
So now our runners have access to just about everything. Don't have Twin Harp and Baron Key and Tower Key, but you've got a lot of choices you have to make. Do you go to Moon? Do you try to make use of that Earth Crystal? Or do you continue exploring what you have open to you? That Dwarf Castle was incredible.
Yeah, that blew this seed wide open, and all of our runners have done it or are in the middle of doing it right now. So we're going to see some divergence, I think, now. Once they all get through this, we'll see where everybody decides to go. I think Fleury is trying to decide where to go. He's kind of circling around here, trying to decide what to do next.
He is going to go pick up that Bedward, and Dobby choosing to dive the Earth Crystal. rncastro gets through Demist, and Eykir, I believe this is the 6th fight?
That sounds right. I think so, yes. And yeah, Castro just finished up that Demist, so everybody's going to be getting pretty caught up here in just a moment.
All right, Eykir about to get his pan. Gonna be happy to see all the key items. Probably not so happy to see that they're all rabbit holes. Now, we have something interesting being mentioned in chat, the D-Machine grind. We do have access to Weak in that Tela, and with the D-Machine, you would be able to quickly get some levels on your party and be able to handle anything you would run into. Fleury activating that Darkness Crystal may be going to the Moon.
That's very true about the D-Machine grind, especially since we haven't seen Sirens. If Sirens are not available on the Moon, that D-Machine grind with this, a powered up Tela who has Weak is a very valid choice. Possibly their only quick choice for leveling with this particular party if there's no Sirens on the Moon.
And we have Trollbaz in Zot.
You never want to see Trollbez anywhere. This is just another slog of a fight. Dobby just getting through that Demist and that Fabul Gauntlet, just to be followed up by another long fight that has cutscenes and lots of text in it.
Golbez, just a long cutscene of a fight, will kill off everyone except for 2 party members. Oh, the Rydia has immunity to the hold gas. That is interesting.
She might have does the heroine robe provide that immunity?
Yes, it does. She probably has that heroine robe equipped, so she's not going to get caught by the hold, but she can still be killed by Demolish.
We find another Rydia waiting for our party up on the Moon.
2 Rydias. Now, that would be really nice in the Zeromus fight if you can grind her all the way up to Nuke, but that will take a lot of experience.
Yeah, she learns nuke at level, I think,
50.
but she gains XP very slowly compared to all the other characters, or gains levels very slowly, I should say.
Another thing about Golbez, he's weak to fire. That fire 3 gonna do pretty solid damage on him, even though it's coming from an old man whose stats are absolutely terrible. That lightning 3 though, absolutely wrecking Rydia. Eykir turning in his pan now has his darkness crystal, has that earth crystal, and that Luca key. A lot of choices to make.
Castro finishing up this Kabul Gauntlet here in the Dwarf Castle. I think he's on his last fight now, so he's about to get the pan pretty quickly here on his screen.
All right, Dobby finishes up that Golbez, and just a bit of irony, it was Tella that killed the Golbez.
Oh, that's justice.
And Fleury heading down into Cave Bahamut. I wonder if we're going to have some value here. That's an interesting one in the Dr. Luge at Bahamut. This spot has a lot of physical attack.
It looks like Fleury did find sirens in the Hummingway shop on the moon, so he may be doing some gold dragon grinds here. You can get that fight either in the lunar subterrane or right here in Cave Bahamut, so it looks like that's what he's about to do.
And one of our characters from Zot is a Palom. That's a pretty solid character. Learns Quake early and just takes a little bit longer to get to that nuke. And a Kain.
Both very, very powerful characters. So kind of nice to see a little bit of variety in the characters that we're seeing in tonight's seed.
And Dobby getting rid of the Rydia for Kain and Atella for Palom. I actually like this because Rydia just takes so long to come online, whereas Palom gets online a little bit faster, and Kain just mostly gear dependent. And we have Water Hag at Vavalis spot.
This is another free fight. As long as they can hit Water Hag 3 times, he will disappear. Not a bad spot to find it, but kind of too bad that they're not finding it in a spot like on the moon or somewhere a little bit more difficult.
There's the Arg, and Water Hag is now dead. So Dobby finishing up with Earth Crystal. Eykir now taking on his Golbez fight, while Fleury is continuing to do a bit of King Ryu grinding. And once again, with Tella with weak, this King Ryu grind is not too difficult.
Oh yeah, weak makes these gold dragons go very, very quickly. So this is going to bring his party online pretty fast here.
rncastro now going to go turn in his pan, has that Sand Ruby to turn in as well, got the Darkness Crystal, and now has his pass as well.
Dobby just picked up the package from defeating the Mount Zot, or Tower of Zot. So it's a key item. It's one closer to getting the 10 key items that you need to get double XP. He could go pick up another character if he wanted to, but I don't think, it doesn't look like he's going to do that.
No, it's too late in the seed to go for a package character, especially when you have access to one on the moon. And if you really wanted to, you could go through Giant to get one. Don't think anyone's going to do that, but there's no point in doing package, especially since we've already found Demist.
Yeah, it looks like Dobby is going to raise the whale and is going to be joining Fleury on the moon pretty quickly here. Meanwhile, Castro is picking up the plethora of key items that he's getting from finishing up the dwarf castle here.
I wonder if anyone's going to be bold enough to go dive into Luca, but rncastro choosing to go up Zot as well. And Fleury looks like he's going to be making the bottom-up play for the lunar subterrane. Going to start at the bottom, probably do the D-lunar spot and the two ribbons, hoping for key items there.
Yeah, that's pretty common to dive all the way down to the lower save point and then do the bosses that are at the bottom here, both because they're worth more XP and because they're clustered together more. So if you find your key items down here, then if you find what you need, you can just exit out right away.
Very, very true. We're still just looking for that adamant and legend, so this makes sense. 2 key items for 1 boss.
Yeah, everyone has underground access, so they have access to the blacksmith where they need to forge their key item, and they all have the pass, so they will be able to take the shortcut to Zemus once they have the crystal. But so far we haven't found the legend sword or the adamant, which are both required to make that crystal.
Fleury is starting off at the plague spot, finds the dolls.
This is a fairly easy fight, not 100% free, but with the levels that he grinded on those gold dragons, he'll probably be able to take this down. You can, as we see on Fleury's screen, you can use an hourglass on them and it will stop the blue dolls in the back. And then with the hit points in any spot divided between 6 enemies, yeah, we see that those front 3 dolls go down pretty quickly.
And it's not just divided between 6, but dolls divided between 7 enemies.
Oh, that's very true, because if they do combine, they would combine into the last big doll, which is why they hourglass the dolls in the back so that they cannot combine.
And the dolls reward you with an Excalibur. Now Cecil is fully online. That's going to be a really good weapon for him. The second best one for him in the game.
Yeah, it's not a key item, but it's a really nice pickup for that Cecil that they've got. So he's going to be a powerhouse now.
One interesting thing about V1, because the crystal replaces the Excal when you forge the Adamant and Legend Sword together, an Excalibur is guaranteed in one of your key item locations.
Looks like we have Dobby also checking the value in Cave Bahamut, finding the Dr. Lugay there, and eykir just finished up the Mount Zot. I keep saying Mount Zot, the Tower of Zot. Got the package and is actually going to go check that character that's waiting in Mist Village.
It's just a Yang, not going to take that, but didn't even show us the package sprite.
If that had been maybe a Fusoria, that maybe I could see runners taking the time to go through those cutscenes to pick up that character. But for someone, a character like Yang, yeah, they're not going to take the time to go through all those cutscenes.
Taking Yang is just, it wouldn't be worth it. It might be worth it for a Rosa as well, but you're right, Fu would be worth it, but even still. It's a long set of cutscenes just for a single character. And eykir now diving down into the Fey March. And we have a Sura at the D-Lunar spot. That's actually rather annoying.
Yeah, this spot has a lot of hit points, and well, it looks like he's got a rune axe for the Cecil, and that rune axe is going to be doing quadruple damage on Ashura. So we see a lot of damage output from Cecil there.
Very true. The rune axe does a lot of extra damage to caster types, which Asura is. Has that blink status set up, berserk on Cecil, and reflect on Asura, so she can't heal herself.
This was eykir's first visit down to the Fey March, so he did just now pick up that sand ruby. So he could go pick up an Edward if he wanted. He is probably now going to go check the bosses down here. We'll see if he decides to challenge either of these bosses that are sitting down here.
All right, RNCastro got through that Golbez. Now looking at this Palom and Kane, going to be rewarded with the package afterwards. Dobby's grinding up on some King Ryus, and Fleury makes quick work of that Asura.
eykir looks at the bosses in the Fey March and says, nope. And then we got a glass helm and a spoon from the ribbons spot on Fleury's screen.
At least the spoon is a key item.
Yeah, again, just like the package, it's one more key item that will count toward the 10 key items that they need to get double XP. But they don't have the spoon flag, so can't equip it on Edward, and they don't have a ninja that they can dart it with, so it's kind of just a pretty piece of cutlery that's sitting in their inventory right now.
And I like this from eykir, going ahead and diving Luca. Probably has a save set up, so if it's nothing, he can just scum out and not have to run all the way back out.
Yeah, that is the one nice thing about Luca Cave, is that you get to see the item before you fight the boss. So if it's nothing, if it's not a key item, or if it's a junk key item like, well, we've already seen the package or the spoon. I don't know that there's anything else that they'd want to get, or Pinktail. I guess they wouldn't need the Pinktail. They can just they can reset out to a save prior to going into the sealed cave.
Unless it's a key item that isn't Pinktail, definitely just gonna immediately reset out of here.
Fleury finding Pale Dim at the Ogopogo spot, having a little bit of trouble with that fight. He resets out, but it looks like he's turning down his battle speed and is probably going to go try that again. If he has Artemis arrows in his inventory, he could equip those on Cecil, and Pale Dim is considered a dragon type, so he would take quad damage to anyone using those Artemis arrows.
So eykir finds Tower Key at Luca, and it is guarded by Valvalis and resets out of that. That is a tough spot for her.
Yeah, Valvalis is a rough boss in most spots, but that particular boss spot is going to be really mean, especially if he doesn't have a cane with him, which I don't think he does.
Thought he completed tower. I guess he chose not to take the cane. But yeah, Val with his current party and setup and levels, just not very possible. Dobby now taking on that Asura fight. Fleury getting set up for this Pale Dim, which thankfully Pale Dim, unless you hit it with a summon, generally just physical attacks, and then counters physical attacks with slow.
Yeah, we see him using illusions and blink on his party to help mitigate the damage by those physical attacks, and then using physical attacks with his young and spells like virus with his casters. Now, Pale Dim will, I believe, absorb elemental spells, so you don't want to use things like fire, ice, and lit spells on it.
This is very true. And just mention, yeah, Val would be doable right now. It'd just be a very, very slow fight. So probably better to save that till it's a little bit quicker, especially in a race. It could be a powerful gamble, though.
It very well could be if that tower key holds any kind of progression, but you know, since we don't know what that tower key holds, if anything, and there's so many checks up here on the moon that could hold something else that could be progression. Is it worth it to spend the time on Val? I don't blame eykir for, you know, noping out of that.
And to answer Moonblaze Wolf in chat, Earth Crystal led to Palom and Kane, and then a package, so kinda worthless? But let's hope that that Val is required.
I mean, the rest of the seed has been reasonably, so...
And we have everyone is now on the moon finding those sirens. And we did have someone peek package. It was Karate.
Fleury takes down the Pale Dim after setting up his party properly, turning down that battle speed a little bit and getting those blinks and illusions up. Didn't have too much trouble with this fight, and he is rewarded with a power shirt.
So far, this moon hasn't had very much.
Yeah, we've seen Ogopogo spot, we've seen the ribbon spot, and we've seen the plague spot now. And so far, I think the spoon is the only key item we've gotten out of that.
We did get an Excalibur for Cecil, which is still a good weapon for him, but...
Fleury making his way back up now, having done the 3 boss checks that are at the bottom of the lunar subterrane. I'm going to be checking the Wyvern spot to see if there's anything worthwhile here.
Only has 2 more checks in the lunar subterrane, and Wyvern spot. Still could be some nasty things that could crop up there.
We haven't seen Kanazu yet. Trying to think of other really nasty bosses that we haven't seen.
Don't think we've seen an Ogopogo.
Oh, that's true. Very true. It's an Octomom.
This one's interesting because once you hit it 3 times, it's going to start losing limbs. And once it starts losing limbs, it loses speed and power. After the first 3, it's every 2 after that.
As you can see, it's hitting very, very hard and fast at the start here, but it's only going to do physical attacks. So if their parties can get blinks and illusions up, and we saw Berserk going up on Cecil so that he can be hitting as fast as possible so that that Octoman can be slowed down, this fight will go pretty smoothly once they have it under control here.
Dobby makes quick work of those dolls, now has his own Excalibur, and Fleury gets those blinks set up, and Octoman starting to become less and less of a problem. Meanwhile, eykir and rncastro have begun their King Ryu grinds just to get some levels for this moon.
Yeah, we see all of our runners kind of following the same path here. This is pretty standard. You know, once you get that darkness crystal, you're going to want to go to the moon and make all these checks. Do your grinding up here because this is a good grind spot. So we see the quality of our runners in this league, that they're all kind of following the same path because this is kind of the optimal path to take when presented with the items that they have.
Potential progression from that Octomam and Twin Harp. I wonder if we're going to have some required music.
We see Fleury exiting out. He does have one more check here at the front of the lunar subterrane and then the Cave Bahamut spot. So we'll see if he decides to check that or if he's going to go check Twin Harp right away.
I would guess probably going to go check this Pale Dim spot, simply because you don't want to have to go into the lunar subterrane any more than you have to. But Bahamut's going to be kind of one that I see our runners wanting to gamble.
Yeah, I agree that he'll more than likely go check the Pale Dim spot that's at the front of the lunar subterrane. Now, because I'm pretty sure that Fleury checked the Bahamut spot and saw that it was Dr. Lugay, and Lugay is a relatively easy boss. I would think that now that he's got these levels, has the Excalibur for Cecil, he'll probably go back in there and do that, I guess, but we'll see what he decides to do and what item he picks up here as well.
One thing to keep in mind is the first phase of Dr. Lugay is primarily physical attacks, and Bahamut spot has, for something that doesn't physically attack, have an absurdly high physical attack stat.
That's true. Now, Lugay does have a little bit of dialogue at the start of the battle, so if you can deal enough damage, you might be able to take him down, or at least do enough damage to almost take him down before he actually starts attacking.
Pale Dim spot having the Magus Sisters.
If he still has that rune axe, he can put that on Cecil and do quad damage with him against these bosses.
Woo Bear, no one has done Keyless Tower yet. Dobby finishing up that Pale Dim, and looks like, and eykir is now heading down into the D-Lunar spot. That power shirt from Pale Dim, not exactly worth how long of a slog of a fight that can be.
Castro just finished up grinding in Cave Bahamut. Looks like he is back row glitching his Cecil, and we'll see where he decides to go from here. If he's maybe going to check for value in that Cave Bahamut, or if he's going to join everybody else in the lunar subterrane.
I kind of like this. No one else has checked Bahamut, and a lot of runners don't like to check Bahamut early, so this could give you an advantage.
Yeah, we see him equipping his party, doing some re-equipping and changing his party composition up a little bit here and saving, and then he's diving back in. So it looks like he's going to check if there is any value here in Cave Bahamut. Meanwhile, we get another Excalibur from the Pale Dim spot on fleury14's screen.
If you found another Cecil, or you could find an edge, it would be useful, but not progression. The lunar subterrane, the only form of potential progression is that Twin Harp. Moon's starting to feel quite a bit like a bust.
Fleury is going right over to Cave Bahamut, so is going to be checking for value here.
Makes sense. Don't want to have to do any more cutscenes for the moon.
Yeah, flying back and forth between the moon and the planet, you have to watch that cutscene on the whale. So if they only have to do that once or twice in this case to get back down to the planet, that's they can clear it all up in one go. That's probably what they're looking to do here.
Dobby on this Octoman fight, and it looks like Castro has gotten a decent setup for this Dr. Lugay fight.
He did pick up both Kane and Palom from the Tower of Zot, and did a little bit of grinding, so both of them have some levels. We saw Quake on Palom come out there. Now is in the second phase of the Dr. Lugay fight.
Interesting thing about Dr. Lugay in the second phase, he turns into a machine type, so lightning does bonus damage, And he's also a little bit more susceptible to axes, I believe.
Another thing is that he uses that laser ability that does, we just saw it out on Cecil there. It does a set amount of damage based on his hit points, but it can be reflected. So if you find him in a particularly nasty spot that has a lot of hit points, like maybe, I know I've fought him in Odin before where I've had to use it. You can use Star Veils on your party to reflect that and protect your party and do extra damage to him.
Fleury gets through that first phase of Dr. Luge as well, and it looks like rncastro getting set up for this second phase. Eykir still working on this Asura fight, and Dobby now has Twin Harp finishing up the Lunar Subterrane. And thank you for the correction. It was hammers that are better against machines. Accuracy is just, or axes are good against ogres, just minus accuracy.
Eykir and Dobby are clearing up all the checks on the Lunar Subterrane still. Fleury gets through the second phase of Dr. Luge here.
Fleury started that fight after rncastro, but those extra levels made it quite a bit faster, and it's a pink tail. So unless the Twin Harp leads to our progression, the moon was a bust.
That was a big bust, and all of our runners got caught in it. So we'll see if there is going to be music required tonight through that Twin Harp.
Being pointed out in chat, Fleury does now have 10 key items.
That is, that's good, but since he's already cleared everything on the moon, that's where most of the big XP boss battles are. If he's going to get any more levels or significant levels, he's probably going to have to grind again at some point. As in, take sirens and either do an egg grind, go back up to the moon and do a gold dragon grind, possibly a D machine grind, something like that. Now it does look like he's going to take that Twin Harp, and we're going to get some music here.
With everything else on the moon being a bust, it makes a lot of sense to just check this Twin Harp right away.
And he knows it's what the people want. I mean, this is what chat always wants is the music. Value at music is what we want.
And Dobby now on that Mega Sister fight, that Runak Cecil just absolutely tearing through them.
Castro is going to be making his first dive down into the Lunar Subterrane. Probably going to be clearing it here. Going to be getting a couple of Excaliburs and a Twin Harp for his trouble, and that Power Shirt if he decides to full clear everything.
And I like what Fleury did. He used the poison to make sure his team took some extra damage on the way here, and now using kamikazes to kill his characters.
Yeah, if you can... Oh, very nice. If you can kill off your party like we saw him do here before Dark Elf starts his attack animation, you can skip all of the magic animations, and it does save some time. And it sounds like DJ Spoony B is playing us some Zelda tunes tonight.
That's either Zelda 1 or Link to the Past, and we get a free fight here, though our levels are so high it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we see Flurry one-shotting those Baron guards.
And is this our progression? It's potential.
Possibly?
Because what does the rat tail hold for us?
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Smapey, you rolled us a wonderful seed tonight.
I saw someone in chat comparing it to a Scala seed, and it's not far from the truth. This is a pretty beautiful seed.
Flurry, let's see what that rat tail holds.
And it's more fetch questing.
This is a chain, I will tell you something.
So that Baron key will open up Baron Castle, which leads to a potential key item at the bottom of the Baron Castle garbage can, as we call it. And it also opens up the Odin spot, which it looks like Flurry's going to go follow that right now.
You've already sunk this much time into it. You have to follow the chain and hope it pays off. But, I mean, this was Dwarf Castle into Pan, into Sheila 2 with Darkness, into Twin Harp, into Hook, finding the rat tail earlier, into Baron Key.
Oh, that's quite the chain. And Woobear, to answer you in chat, no, I don't think that Flurry even bothered with the pink tail. He could have turned the pink tail in while he was on Adamant Grotto Island, and he didn't even bother. That pink tail could have given an adamant armor, except no adamants is turned on. So yeah, he didn't even bother turning that pink tail, and he was just like, nope, I'm gonna go check Baron. Bye.
Yeah, the pink tail will just lead to a pretty solid piece of gear, or it could lead to, you know, a glass helmet. No point in turning it in.
Or a ninja shirt. Yeah, exactly.
Dobby had a little bit of trouble with Luge, but gets through the fight, and now is rewarded with a pink tail. And we saw this a long time ago, but we are fighting Vanilla Baigan in Baron.
I don't think our runners at this point care about Vanilla Baigan. He's, a single virus from Rydia takes him out. That's pretty nice to find him in that spot, though, because Baigan can be really mean if you find him in like on the moon or something. Like we knew he wasn't on the moon, but you know, if he was in the Odin spot or something like that, he could have been a lot meaner.
Could have been mean. We find a nope rope on the throne, but at this point, not too threatening.
Yeah, he's still gonna take out half of everybody's hit points with that double big wave at the start of the fight, but Cecil just took up most of the rest of his hit points with a single hit, and then it looks like he's using a kamikaze from Yang to skip the crumble animation and just dispatch him.
And there's a cane, so that's nice, but I don't know if you would really want to take it at this point. Nope. And Dobby now going to go give us an encore of music.
Eykir and Castro are wrapping up the checks in the lunar subterrane. We're about to see what's in the pot in the bottom of Baron Castle here.
Come on, nothing, because I want to see that Val be required. It's a Bahamut summon. It's useful, kinda.
He's got 2 Rydias in his party, so that's going to be pretty nice for his party setup for whatever he's got left. Odin, the 2 bosses at the bottom of Feymarch, anything except his Aromas, basically.
So we still have the Odin spot, so let's see what that holds for us today. And Simbu, Val is at Evil Wall. Correct, there's Odin's spot, there's the Feymarch bosses, and there's that tower key behind Val plus top of tower left.
We find CPU sitting on Odin's throne in Baron Castle. Not going to be too difficult for this party, especially now that they've just picked up that Bahamut summon for these 2 Rydias.
And it looks like he's not making use of that Bahamut summon yet. Nope, going to go the slow and long route.
Even by just doing physical attacks with Cecil and Yang here, that Cecil with the Excalibur is gonna eat through this pretty quickly.
This is very true. This spot not too threatening, and with that already, shouldn't have too much trouble. Dobby finishing up his guards now has the hook from Twin Heart, and it looks like rncastro doing some more grinding.
Eykir going back into the lunar subterrane. I think he's going back in to get the last of the bosses in here at the Pale Dim spot.
That is correct. Going to go get those Mega Sisters and find the Excalibur from them.
Second Excalibur, yes. There was one also at the Plague. The first one was at the Plague spot.
Fleury finishes off that CPU, and Dobby is about to get that Baron key, and the moon is a total bust.
Oh my gosh.
And just to add insult to injury, it was a drain spear.
And we see the pink tail turn in as well. It's another power shirt.
This was a great moon for absolutely nothing.
Wow. So everything has been available to them this whole time. We don't know where it is yet, but it's been available to them, whether it's at Keyless Tower, Feymarch, something is available here to them. They all just got baited by this moon.
And Dobby, following up that chain, going to be extremely disappointed. And it looks like Fleury is going to take on our Feymarch bosses, but the current level shouldn't have too much trouble. So everything is underground at this point.
Yeah, this is quite the seed because most of the time runners are going to go to the moon to get those levels. There's lots of checks up there, so it's not uncommon at all to find at least something on the moon, some kind of progression. But no, nothing. There's nothing up there. Now we do see that this is Rubicant here in the Leviathan spot. This would have been pretty scary when they first came down here an hour ago, but at this point now with this Excalibur, Cecil, and their party setup, this going to be pretty easy for them, I think.
Dobby making quick work of that Baigan, and it looks like Eykir now heading over to Bahamut to find no value. And Ruby quickly takes out those two Rydias, Tella quickly falling behind as well. Rydia being picked up, and there's both Rydias back up. Cecil blocking those physical attacks, and you see that physical attack hurts from Ruby.
Yeah, that and the glare is really the scary in this fight, but we still see Cecil and Young doing considerable amounts of damage, and with that Bahamut as well. So I think that they're going to be able to Fleury's going to be able to outdamage him without too much trouble here.
Shouldn't have too much trouble with the Ruby at this point. Dobby finishing up the Nope Rope on the throne, sees the second cane, and rncastro taking on that Pale Dim, going to be disappointed in that. And Ruby is down. Is this our progression?
There it is. That is half of our go mode.
Adamant from Ruby and the Fey March. That's been open to us for a very long time. Now, is Mom Bomb going to have Legend Sword just to rub it into our runners' faces?
Oh, that would be something if they'd both been sitting right next to each other this whole time.
I cannot believe we had a moon that literally had nothing except for a couple of pointless key items.
Well, it had an Excalibur, and it had Sirens.
It had the Sirens is nice, Excalibur is nice, but definitely not required tonight.
So to answer Simbu in chat, yes, Demist was on
Dolls.
Dwarf Castle. Yeah, Dwarf Castle. Mm-hmm.
Dobby going into that CPU fight for the Drain Spear. And thankfully, Cecil's not taking too much damage from this Mom Bomb, but shouldn't be too difficult to get through this fight, especially with the Bahamut spam.
So that Dwarf Castle, just to kind of recap anyone who's joined us more recently, that Dwarf Castle was kind of what opened up this whole seed, since Dwarf Castle had Demist, and it also had the Pan, and we got from Sheila 2, we got the Darkness Crystal, and then we got the Luca key from turning in the Demist check to Rydia's mother. So we've had that Luca key this whole time as well. Now we got an Avenger from this Mom Bomb, so we had half of Go Mode sitting here in the Fey March. I wonder if that Luca key has the other half.
So all we have left is top of tower and tower key, which tower key is guarded by Luca. And Fleury heading straight to Luca. I would love to see Legend Sword at top of tower, meaning just about everything our runners have done so far has not really been needed.
Yeah, it's been open since they got the magma key on Ordeals, which they all went to because they started with Cecil, Dark Knight Cecil, and Tella.
Dobby gets his Drain Spear. And eykir doing some more grinding on the moon.
Not too surprised to see them do grinding now while they're on the moon, because they probably know, both eykir and Castro know that they're not going to want to return to the moon once they full clear it here, and also know that they're not going to get a significant amount of XP once they come back down to the planet. So they're probably trying to get their characters to Zeromus levels while they're up here.
Certainly makes sense. Dobby now going to Luca as well, and still hasn't done Fey March, so that'll probably be up after the tower. And now we have rncastro heading into music himself, Fleury picking up that tower key, and Dobby hot on his heels.
Yeah, this Valvalis is going to be pretty easy for all of our runners at this point, even though even the ones who don't have a cane to knock her out of the tornado, they're going to eat right through it with that Cecil. Yeah, we see him doing almost 4k damage just with a regular physical attack here.
One other thing to note about Valvalis is she's currently weak to Holy, and switching to that Avenger Sword in the way that Fleury did, he keeps the stats of that Excalibur, but gets the Berserk from the Avenger.
Also throwing a Berserk on Yang for good measure. So, yeah, this even though she's they don't, he doesn't have a cane in his party, she's going to go down pretty quickly here.
Yeah, with the levels he's got, this is not much this is not very difficult. Takes her down relatively easily. Dobby right on his tail with that tower key. And eykir is back on Earth, and it looks like rncastro is about to give us music.
Fleury having to do a combination of warping and walking out of the sealed cave here. The exit spell does not work in this cave, but warp does. Depending on what room you're in, as you can see, sometimes it's faster to walk, sometimes it's faster to warp. So he's using a combination of both to get out of here as quickly as possible.
Certainly is the case. This is a kind of a long walk back out, long walk down, and the only way out is just warp or walking. So, and going to make straight to tower. Let's see if he goes to the top of tower first, so maybe he doesn't have to use the tower key.
Yeah, if he finds that legend sword sitting at the top of tower, then he wouldn't have even needed the tower key. And like you said, Tirasu, that would have been, if it had been sitting there this whole time, they would have had access to it this entire time.
That would mean Dwarf Castle was completely worthless except for all the key items it gave you just to get the bonus experience, which for the most part runners didn't need. And Fleury skipping over tower key, heading straight up to the top of tower first. Dobby finished up his Val fight and heading his way out of Luca Cave. And I believe this is going to be Plague or D Lunars.
I think those are the only two that we haven't seen yet. So yeah, that sounds correct. Looks like Dobby is following Fleury straight up to tower.
And it is D Lunars. At this point, not scary whatsoever. All right, and Castro finishing up his music and gonna be very disappointed when all these is said and done. Adamant is at Ruby at Leviathan.
Castro following this same chain that we've seen everybody else, getting that hook, gonna go turn that rat tail and potentially that pink tail in here, getting that Baron key, probably gonna go follow that up. We know that that unfortunately doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah, this is very true. It looks like Tower Key is guarded by the Kaipo fight tonight.
Yeah, we'll see if Dobby decides to do this half-time. Might do this and then run. Oh, there's the Legend Sword.
So we had access to go mode as soon as we had Magma Key, pretty much.
Yep, because they could have done this keyless tower and they could have done that Leviathan spot. It would have been difficult because at that point they didn't have any way to grind real efficiently because sirens were on the moon and they didn't have access to do like a D-machine grind or anything like that. But they had access to it.
This is very true. Could have been interesting to see a clapper grind. But yeah, moon totally not required. And you had access from Sheila 1 for the pass and Legend and Adamant right away from Keyless Tower. Fleury probably going to go straight into forging his crystal, maybe head straight to the Zeromus fight. With Excalibur, Cecil shouldn't have too much trouble.
Yeah, we'll see if he decides to get any more levels here. He could do some eggs if he feels like he needs it, but that Excalibur Cecil is gonna eat through Zeromus pretty well. Not even bothering to check the shop dwarf there to see if there's maybe anything potentially useful. Going straight for that crystal.
Makes sense. You really don't need any more gear. You have Excalibur, Avenger, Cecil. You've got levels enough on them. You have a Yang who could theoretically just throw items if you need to. And I guess Tella's there.
This Mafety pointing out, wondering how confused Fleury is that there are no other duns at this point. I thought that myself, since everything has been available this whole time, but everyone's followed pretty much the same path, so nobody has been able to metagame any of this at this point.
I keep calling that Keyless Tower is the play. It seems to always be the play for me.
Hey, Tirasu, he's going straight for Zeromus. We have a question we have to ask.
Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Get your Z flags out, chat. We're about to find out.
I still really want to see Bard miss crop up.
I am hoping for how about We just saw a Magus miss the other day. Oh, I like that. How about Ultros miss?
That would certainly make the Tara happy. By the way, Tower Key led to Ninja Shirt. Our crystal has been thrown. Well, this is an interesting one for the seed tonight.
Is this the final boss from the After Years?
This is the final boss from the After Years, the creator.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't played it, this is the sequel to Final Fantasy IV.
Very mixed bag for most people. I love it.
Oh, I'm glad somebody else does, because I liked it as well. I know some people really, really hate it, but I thought it was pretty fun. And you got to really give props to Scala for coming up with this sprite. That is a fantastic sprite.
I really like it. And Dobby taking on this Mom Bomb first. Gonna be rewarded with that Avenger. And I think Dobby has literally checked everything for us tonight. Rncastro now on his CPU fight, and Eykir finished up his Ogopogo, going to be rewarded with the Bahamut summon.
Yeah, we see Fleury's got this race or this fight pretty well under control with Berserk Tiong and a Berserk Cecil, doing pretty massive amounts of damage there with that Avenger glitched Cecil.
And you can see just how fast that Cecil is, making Zeromus just basically standing still.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a cursed ring that they picked up at the very beginning of the race on that Tella to reduce his agility.
And besides Yang and Cecil, the rest are now tanking the ground, completely unneeded for this fight. Cecil taking a nuke to the face. That actually did some pretty nasty damage.
Yeah, and I was incorrect. I thought that he did have Yang berserked, but it looks like he's using Yang as a chemist, so gonna throw out cure potions using Yang, so still has everything pretty much under control here.
We are in rocks.
Get your GGs ready, chat. We're gonna be seeing a done pretty quickly here, I think.
There's the flash. Fleury takes first place with a time of 1:47.28. GG, well played to him.
Indeed, GG for the first place for fleury14, and we'll see if we can get him in here for an interview in just a moment. Meanwhile, we do have Dobby on the Rubicon spot fight now, which is going to lead to that adamant, so he'll be in go mode momentarily, while Eykir and Castro are finishing up the rest of the Baron Castle checks, and it sounds like we are joined now by fleury14. GG on your first place finish.
Thank you. That was very fortunate. I was pretty lucky, not gonna lie.
I mean, a moon totally not required, with the ending result being a drain spear.
Yeah, that was I'm sure that was fantastic for the audience to find the one
Well,
thing coming
eykir
from the
and
moon being harp to whatever it was, to Baron, to Drain Spear. Oh my god. Shout outs to Swimmy wherever you are. But yeah, that seed was I actually didn't feel too bad after completing the moon, just because of what the starting party was, and seeing what the two bosses were. They weren't super easy. I was tempted to try to throw Dragoon Armor Curse Ring, Elven Bow Ice Arrow on Cecil and see if he could actually beat the Leviathan spot, but I kind of thought that would take too long. But I figured everybody else was going to make the moon play anyway. So I think at that point afterwards, it just became the case of be as efficient as you can, and RA1 Zerk plus Cecil usually takes care of that. So cool.
Yep, I mean, literally everyone followed you to the moon not long after you. I think all the rest of our runners did do Earth Crystal, whereas you were the only one that did not. So that's mostly why you managed to take first place, which very well done on your end.
Yeah, I figured most people were gonna do Zot because they have two Tellas in the party at that point, and with me, the more Tellas there are, the bigger the party is. You can never have too many Tellas in your party. So I was totally cool with seeing a second one. If that was the case, go to the moon. We got Cecil and Yang. We got Tella. We got a dream. You know, it'll be fine. I did figure by the time I was getting to the summon monsters part, I figured if something was in Zot, somebody probably would have finished by now. That's kind of why I put that off. I also just wanted to try to leverage the levels I had in the moon by going after the more difficult spots first. Almost did a half tower after getting the tower key. I'm glad I didn't. But yeah, I could see why you would want to do Zot. What were the two characters that were there?
Palom and Kane.
Oh man, those would have been nice to have going to the moon. That's okay.
I mean, you still made good use of the Rydias. You had a good agility anchor in a cursed ring Tella, I believe. You had no trouble on the moon, it seemed.
Yeah, I was a little worried because I think we saw a lot of the freebies to start, and while I was thrilled to see Trollbez sitting in the Demus spot, I knew there were a couple of nasties still out there. Thank goodness this was not a hook siege. I'm pretty sure you guys saw who the boss in the Ruby spot was.
Alright.
It was Evil Wall.
Yeah.
Evil Wall with that party might have been a little tough.
Anyways, do you have any final thoughts on the seed, or?
I guess the one thing I probably would have taken back is that I did probably a little too much looting in the beginning, trying to find something that was gonna get me through the first two fights. And sure enough, like Antlion Cave had everything you needed. I had a black sword, had J items galore, so I put myself in a little bit of a hole by doing that first, but it still worked out. So anyway, appreciate you guys doing commentary, the restream, the tracking, and all that. And 2 down, 2 to go. See you guys in a couple days.
GG. Flurry, when's your next race?
I have one 2 days from now, and then one the day after that. So I'm gonna have a pretty good idea of where I'm sitting pretty soon. And they are two tough ones. Not that there's any easy group pairing of people, because they're all fantastic runners here. But in particular, I'm looking forward to the race with Penguinator in it. I kind of want to beat him.
All right. Well, GG. Good luck in your remaining races.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations on your first place.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fleury14 taking first place, getting 4 points tonight, bringing his total to 7.
And just talking a little bit about our upcoming races, if you have enjoyed watching our league match tonight, we do actually have 2 matches coming up tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. One is right here on RPG Limit Break. The other one is on the Free Enterprise channel. So feel free to tune in to either or both channels to watch those 2 upcoming races.
There's certainly going to be some good races tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. We have races all the way through the weekend.
Yeah, with the all of these league matches and these league players running together, we have lots of races coming up. You can find the full schedule on our Discord page if you are interested.
All right. Dobby went back to the moon to grab some sirens, it looked like. Maybe some Bacchus wines and getting ready to do a little more grinding.
Both eykir and Castro are in this Rubicant spot fight. They are the Leviathan spot fighting Rubicant, and they are going to be getting that adamant pretty soon here, the first part of go mode for them.
And we did see eykir dove back down into the sealed cave, got his tower key. So all he's got left after this ruby is that tower. And I don't know if he did Mom Bomb already.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has or not either. His Palom has got nuke already, though, so whatever route he decides to take, he's going to be taking out these bosses pretty quickly.
And while we're having our runners just grinding or following in everyone's steps, let's give another shout out to our restream tonight. Our restreamer is Smapedy, who brought you this wonderful seed of everything not being required, and our tracker being Tower Sheep, doing an excellent job keeping up with all of our runners. Thank you both so much. This is not possible without you.
Absolutely. And while we're also kind of talking about what's going on in the community, also want to remind everyone about the Hummingway Open, which is kind of our junior league that is going to be starting pretty soon here. If you are not in the Highway to the Zemus Zone League, you can enter the Hummingway Open. It's only open to members of the community who did not qualify for the Highway to the Zemus Zone League, but it is the same flag set, and you can enter until the 10th. So the entries for that close on the 10th, which is this coming Saturday. So if you want to enter into that league, you have a few more days to get your entries in. Highly recommend anyone who might be watching who's interested in getting involved in the community, go ahead and get your entries in for that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I know both me and Maggie are going to be competing, and then you don't have to worry about worry about going up against these fantastic runners. It is literally the junior league for those that couldn't make it into the actual league of Highway to the Zemus Zone. And don't be mistaken, there's still a lot of good runners in there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So please come join us. All right. rncastro is now making his dive down into Luca, and we see a fun glitch that happened on eykir's side.
Yeah, sometimes, Tirasu, do you know why it happens where sometimes you get a blank screen instead of seeing a key item like we saw there on eykir's side?
I believe it's when you're pressing the buttons too quickly. I've never had it happen to me personally, so I don't really know.
That's another nice, eykir kind of showing off another nice quality of life upgrade that the developers have added to this randomizer, showing off the key item tracker that's available in the menu here. So if you do get an item, but you don't know which item you got, you can go into the key item tracker to see which items you have available. So he went in there and was able to see that he didn't actually get a key item from that Mom Bomb spot.
But the thing is he doesn't, I don't think he checked his inventory, so doesn't know that he got that Avenger, which is a really good weapon.
Very true. Hopefully he'll spot that maybe when he's, clearing out his inventory or organizing his inventory at some point in the near future.
And eykir also going to use that tower key right away. And rncastro now going to pick up his tower key, while Dobby is fighting Creator. Creator must. And Dobby getting those berserks up as the Palom on standby to be his chemist this time.
He's got a good setup with his 3 berserkers here, having an extra melee fighter with that cane. I didn't see what weapon he's got on cane. Did he put the...
Looked like a rune axe.
Oh, okay. So not the best weapon for Kane, but still doing 2,500 damage. That's pretty good. So yeah, he's not going to have much trouble at all with this party setup.
And eykir deciding to do the half tower play. Gonna be very, very sad when he has to run all the way back up the tower.
This would have been a very nice play if it had paid off. He's probably thinking that this is what it was because the .duns came, or the first .dun from Fleury came in so late in the game.
It made sense, but out metagamed himself. Now has to go all the way back up to the top of tower. So just extra time needing to be sunk into this annoying lower babble. Dobby with 3 Zerkers getting through this fight pretty quickly. Should be seeing a flash pretty soon.
Castro making his way out of the sealed cave now that he's got the tower key. Going to be joining eykir in the lower Tower of Babel pretty quickly here. We'll see if he decides to go all the way to the top first or if he's going to try that half tower play as well. And we see rocks falling on Dobby's screen.
There's the flash. Dobby taking second place with a time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 38 seconds. GG, well played to him.
GG to Dobby.
All right, eykir is at the top of tower, about to get his legend sword. And rncastro hot on his tail.
Looks like Castro has decided to go to top of tower instead of doing that half tower play. So that's going to help him catch up to eykir a little bit here. Eykir did just get through the D-Lunars that's at the top of the tower, so he now does have his legend sword, but he is going to have to walk all the way out of the tower in order to forge his crystal first.
And we are joined by dobbytwostep. GG, well played. Congrats on second. You there, Dobby?
Saw that he was muted. He might be having a little bit of, I know Discord can give people some trouble. We'll see if we can get him in here in just a moment.
Alright, eykir does, while he's trying to fix that, eykir is going to go forge his crystal, and rncastro literally on his tail, finishing up this D-Lunar fight. So now rncastro has his legend sword and running quickly out to get that crystal forward.
This is going to be a bit of a tight third place for both eykir and Castro. They both have their items to forge their crystal, and eykir does have a slight lead, but Castro is right on his tail here, and they both have the pass, so they're going to be neck and neck in their Zemus fights.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dobby.
All right. Thank you to the restreamer. Thank you, commentator. And thank you, Smarty, for rolling a marvelous lead. It is a 10 out of 10, and I love you. I can't hear anybody, but I love you all.
Well, I can text the questions to you while I ask them here if you'd like to still do an interview that way. Because I'm pretty certain our restream team can hear you if you'd like. All right, looks like Dobby is going to, since he's not able to hear us, is gonna. Yeah, Dobby's gonna bow out from the rest of the interview. He's unable to hear us, but once again, GG, well played to him. Second place, nothing to scoff out in his first race, taking 3 points. Looking forward to seeing the remainder of his race.
Yeah, absolutely. If he watches the VOD and hears this, definitely GG to him and his race. It was very well played to him and the rest of the runners. So GG for second place.
eykir looks like he's doing a little bit of shopping right now.
Yeah, this is allowing Castro to catch up a little bit. I think Castro is right outside Troya doing a little bit of last-minute equipping on his party. So this is making them even more of a tight race for third place for them here.
It's certainly going to make it a lot closer, probably closer than it should have been for between the two. eykir did have a nice lead, but this shopping costing him time. I wonder what he's looking for. Maybe cure 3s or cure 2s? Silk webs?
Yeah, I saw him go all the way down to the Fey March to look for something. That's a bit of a haul, to look for an item. I didn't see if he actually bought anything down there, but it looked like he was looking for other items. Stopping in Baron, there wasn't actually anything there, so I'm not quite sure what he was looking for. Now in Troya, going to be following Castro into the Z fight, since Castro just activated the pass and is going to be entering this Z fight right about now.
And he just picked up some Star Veils right here just before going into the Zemus fight. Looks like trying to set up for some hybrid strats. And Flurry, I could have swore I saw Bacchus on the moon. Castro managed to sneak in front of Eykir, now into his Z fight. And Eykir right behind him now. Castro has that crystal throne.
Doing a little bit of inventory management while waiting for the crystal cutscene to finish up here. Eykir is right behind him getting into the start of his Z fight. Castro has the Excalibur on Cecil, equips the Avenger so that he will be auto-berserked for the rest of the fight now.
He switched it back off and put on a Bacchus wine.
Interesting. I wonder if he maybe wants to put that Avenger on Kane instead.
It would be a solid weapon for Kane, but will still maintain those stats of the Rune Axe. That's an interesting choice. Still doing 2k damage, Cecil doing a respectable 4k. This shouldn't be too difficult of a fight. Throwing a Silk Web would tell it to nerf that first Big Bang.
I see that all of our runners used a Tella as an anchor, except for Eykir, who has a Kane in the middle spot as an anchor. Now, I didn't see if Kane, what Kane has equipped, if he has a curse ring on, what his stats are like. So I don't know what his agility actually is at this point.
And Palom barely surviving a nuke.
They are nearly frame for frame coming out of this first Big Bang.
I will say, I think Eykir's Zemus is faster, but he does have 2 nuke casters, so able to output a little bit more damage. This is going to be a very, very close finish for 3rd place. And we see shakes on both sides for this next round of Big Bang.
Still almost frame for frame on both of their screens. It's going to be within seconds of each other, I think, when they finish.
We have rocks on Castro's side. There's the flash. Castro takes 3rd with a time of 2:12:30.
That was a spectacular finish. GG for Castro, coming in 3rd place, and now we see the flash on Eykir's screen as well. He's coming in. Eykir finishes with an official time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 49 seconds. So 13 seconds behind Castro. GG to both of them on their finishes.
That was a nail-biter of a finish right there at the end. And let's see if we can get both of them in here for an interview.
And while we're waiting for our two runners to join us, just one more shout out to our team tonight. Smapty for running this fantastic seed, or rolling this fantastic seed and restreaming for us, and Tower Sheep for tracking, and then Tirasu for commentating for us. And it sounds like we are now joined by one of our runners. We are joined by eykir. Congratulations and GG on your finish.
Thank you. That was a very rough seed.
That was a very interesting seed, and we are also joined by rncastro. GG to you as well.
Yeah, thank you. GG's to everybody. What a troll.
No kidding.
A completely worthless moon. So eykir, when you had got your crystal, you went around doing a bunch of shopping. What were you looking for?
I had no star veils for balancing stuff and no way to cast it, so I could have gone direct, but it probably would have hurt a lot more. So I was trying to get star veil because I wanted to do the hybrid strats. I didn't have a Bacchus either, so I couldn't Bacchus anybody. I realized too late I had an Avenger Sword as my blank item box. So
yes. Yeah, we saw that when you finished up that Mom Bomb fight, you got the blank item box glitch, and you saw that you didn't get a key item, but you didn't check your inventory, so you didn't know which item you had gotten. And you were slightly ahead of Castro at that point, but you two went into that Z fight almost, you were within seconds of each other when you went into that Z fight then.
yeah, my extra shopping is what killed me. I think I was a little bit on tilt the entire game because the technical problems at the beginning, my internet I think dropped, caused me to have to restart my SNES 9X, and I lost about 5 minutes there.
You still had a fantastic run. That moon baited everybody. Everyone decided to make that darkness crystal play as soon as you all got it, and then it turned out to lead to music, which we all got to hear from everyone, and then it led to a power shirt and a drain spear at the end.
Yeah, it was a long one too, because it was it got the hook, which let you turn the rat tail, which gave you the Baron key, which gave you nothing, or something like that.
I mean, it was one amazing chain to get to a drain spear. So, and literally everyone went for it.
That's pretty funny. It's a troll of a seed.
The funniest part though is as soon as y'all got Magma Key, you had access to Zeromus. It just wasn't going to be fun dealing with Ruby at Leviathan.
Yeah, there was no way I was going to do that at that point. That's mostly the reason why I went up to the moon, and I thought I was doing so good too, because no one was dunning. So I thought, all right, I think everyone's stuck underground, and I'm on the moon, and boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, Castro, you actually were the first of our runners to check for value at Cave Bahamut, and everyone else was in the lunar subterrane at that point. So we were all, hoping and waiting to see if there was going to be value at the Bahamut Cave tonight.
Yeah, not tonight.
Yeah, my downfall is I saw Valvalis guarding the tower key at Luca Cave. So I figured no one was done yet. It's got to be that. It's got to be tower key. And that was also nothing.
Yeah, we saw that half tower play, and I mean, if Val would have been guarding that would have been brilliant. Unfortunately, wasn't required. And then a double trip up tower, that's never fun. But eykir and rncastro, any final thoughts on the seed?
And it was a fun seed, I'm sure, to watch.
Yeah, agreed. It was after the initial, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes where I felt like I was about to die around every corner. It got pretty fun for me. So I'm glad I was able to participate in this fun one. It was a much different seed than yesterday, that's for sure. So it is what I had wished for. Maybe not this trolley, but maybe something a little bit longer.
Well, GG to both of you. When is y'all's next races, by the way?
My last one is on Sunday.
And my last one is on Thursday.
All right. Well, good luck in both of your races, and looking forward to seeing y'all continue.
Yep. Thank you to the Restream team, commentator, and tracker.
Yes, thank you all for making this possible. We all appreciate it.
And thank you to all of our runners for letting us restream you. It's always a pleasure to watch our league runners run these races. They do a fantastic job, volunteering their time and energy to put on these great races for us. So give them a follow and give our restream team a follow as well. Just thank you to all of our runners and volunteers for putting on these fantastic races.
That is very true. The runners are putting themselves out there for your entertainment, so make sure you go give them a follow. Check them out. They're all fantastic runners and great fun. Once again, thank you, Smapey, for rolling this seed and handling the restream. It's great working with you, and Tower Sheep doing an excellent job on tracking. And a huge shout out to RPG Limit Break for allowing us to host our tournament on your channel. It is a great privilege to work with y'all. Any final thoughts on your end, Maggie?
Again, a reminder to everyone that we will be back here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, both here on RPG Limit Break and on our own Free Enterprise Twitch channel. We're having a doubleheader tomorrow, 2 races going on. So check us out tomorrow night. Watch one or both of the races if you want to switch between the 2 of them. And it's just a pleasure to work with you, Tirasu, and all of our Restream volunteers and all of our runners. It's been a great pleasure to be part of this league and watch these runners participate.
And it's always a pleasure working with you, Maggie. Now, everyone, make sure you stay tuned. We're going to have a Dragon Warrior Rando race coming up right after this one, and looking forward to seeing that. So, GG, and see y'all next.
Have a great evening.